Ooh. Hi everyone. Please let me know if you can hear me. There's not much to see, but are we live? Ooh. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Wait, Gimbal. Don't die. Don't die just now. Hi everyone. Hello. Give me a second. My gimbal is acting out a little bit, but I think I know what the issue is. Wait a sec. Okay. I hope it works out. Hi everyone. This is probably the darkest it will be. Is the sound here? Very good. Hi everyone. Hello. This is me, Anna. I've just snatched this from my son last year costume, one of his last year Halloween costumes. Hello. Shabbat shalom, Shavua tov. I hope everyone is having a great weekend. And I only like, the kind spooks. I don't like stories. I don't like stories about deaths, murders, and blood, you know. But this is the Halloween tour, and unfortunately, the stories I will be sharing with you today, gimbal spirits in action, absolutely, it's poltergeist somewhere on my gimbal, for sure. So the thing is, I'm now very dark. We're gonna need some extra light. This is just one of my lanterns for today. So the thing is, as much as I like, some haunted stories, not so much bloodshed. Hi Marty, good to see you. Trick or treats, no trick or treats for last night. So this is the one, trick or treat, virtual trick or treat. So I'm actually a licensed tour guide, and I like true stories. I like haunted stories, I like ghost stories and stuff. I like legends, but because I'm a professional, I not really into just legends. But since it's Halloween, I thought mixing some history and facts with some legends and mythology, like, lore of Tbilisi, I thought it would just be the perfect day for it. But many stories that I will be sharing tonight, unfortunately, did happen. And to me, they are way scarier. Oh, the wind is also getting much stronger right on time. And for me, unfortunately, and not only to me, and unfortunately, to me, they are way worse and way scarier than some of the legends I will be sharing tonight. So let's see how it goes. Definitely the weather is getting worse. I hope it doesn't start raining. I mean, it's epic enough because my witch hat is just about to part with me. You see? Oh. Anyway, I may lose my head, but hopefully I won't lose my mind. Anyway, let's get down. Let's get down to business. And where are we? We are in Tbilisi. We're still in the Caucasus, in the beautiful land full of mountains and lakes and fantastic nature. I would say squeezed between the Black Sea and the Caspian Sea, and we are in the center of everything. I would say, in a way, we are in the eye of the storm. I did lots of hat pins, but I only have just one string, to be honest. It's not so convenient. I would say it's not really comfortable. I mean, it's not even convenient, but it's okay. So let me show you something. Well, this is better. I know it's dark, but it's okay because it's Halloween tour, so it has to be dark anyway. We are in the area very close to the main avenue, and I'm sure for those of you who have seen my tours in general, you know that the main avenue in Tbilisi is Rustaveli Avenue. So basically, we are one street away from it. And it means we are in a very, I would say, upscale neighborhood. Most buildings here are beautiful. Some still need to be taken care of, but it's okay. As the tour goes, I will explain to those who are not familiar with the history of Tbilisi. But even just, well, looking at this house, yes, We know. Yes, this building looks a bit spooky, I know. I would say the entire area is actually a bit scary to walk on because there's a lot of police, because I'm very close to the parliament building, so I hope I won't get arrested for my looks and for filming also in the area close to the parliament building. But well, let's see how it goes. It's gonna be fun anyway. Either way, look at these lovely details of the Art Nouveau decorations. Well, definitely this building was a gorgeous one once, and definitely not everyone could afford living here. Not everyone could afford living in Tbilisi, because Tbilisi, when it became part of the Russian Empire in 1801, shortly after that, it became actually sort of the capital, the financial capital of the entire Caucasus region. That happened also due to the fact that in Azerbaijan, the oil was sort of rediscovered, and this is when they started exporting oil to Europe, because oil was the main ingredient eventually for lighting back then, kerosene lamps. And half of Europe actually used Azerbaijani oil to make kerosene for the lamps. And Tbilisi was the center of banks, finances, because Azerbaijan was also part of the Russian Empire at that point. So from Batumi, which is Georgia, the oil all the way from Azerbaijan by the pipeline built by the Nobel family, and also the oil that was loaded in big barrels and transported to Batumi by the railroad built by the Rothschilds. Well, they can understand all the money eventually would flow, literally, I would say, to Georgia. And Tbilisi became the capital. So this is where a lot of banks opened. This is where a lot of beautiful architecture would be constructed, because there was a lot of people who could afford living in such buildings. And we are exactly on one of the streets like that. But since this is a Halloween tour, I also not going to spoil good stories with facts. So I would like to start with a legend. Look at this building. It's one of those, I would say, lovely, cozy, quite expensive pieces of real estate. It has a lovely balcony. This building was constructed in mid-19th century, judging by the architecture. During the daytime, the building looks like that. You know, I always come prepped. I do some homework. That's what it looks like during the day. Lovely, actually. Some people are not big fans of those creatures on the above the windows. But that's okay. It's a lovely balcony with flower pots. But this house actually has a dark story. Somewhat in mid-19th century, here lived a family. Obviously, it was not just an ordinary family. They had money, and they had a child, one girl, who was just like every other kid in town, I would say. Only there's one thing, that at some point she started, and I'm gonna need, since I'm only one today, I need some extra hand, and I wish I had one. You know, I could buy some in the store, you know, like to scare people away, but I decided not to do that. So I will need some time to juggle things around. Anyway, so there was a girl. At some point she just started to get quite depressed. She would feel, well, I would say, in low spirits almost all the time. Kids would not want to play with her. Her parents would find her, I would say, mostly alone, playing with her toys. And one day, according to what we know from the folklore, from the stories, legends here, this girl was found dead. Some legends claim that the girl actually hanged herself, or someone helped her. This is a horrible story, 6-year-old child. Yeah. Well, what can I say? There is no information about this online, but this legend is as old as hills. That's what I can say. And yes, indeed, documents claim that indeed here used to live a family with a child, but then they just disappeared. There's no information in the archives, so we don't know what happened to this family. But ever since the mid-19th century, many people who lived in this house didn't really stay longer than a year. Hi, Adrian. Good to see you all. Didn't stay longer than a year, and everyone would prefer to move. I don't know. I don't know why. Maybe it's something that has to do with the girl. Maybe. Well, if I come closer, you will see. Maybe it's just because of those creatures that are scary, right? They look pretty scary to me. They look like goats with beards. And also, there is one building that would be constructed later. You see, I have a big light with me as well. Over there, the architect put an interesting creature. I'll also show you the photo of what it looks like during the day, but in the light, in this just torchlight, I think it looks mystical enough. I'll show you the photo during the day. I just need a second to arrange it. Okay, hold on. That's me over there. So during the day, it looks like this. So another legend has it that the architect who built this house, gradually after he started working on this project, he also started feeling depressed, and something kept bothering him. He also kept sharing it with the people who he worked with, and eventually he decided to place this demon or devil, I'm not sure, on the building. We know that there is such a tradition in Europe, in general in architecture, to place scary gargoyles or different, scary creatures, just because this may help scare off the evil and protect the household. So maybe that architect somehow managed to protect himself. But this legend is still alive. The legend about the dead girl is still alive. We need to move on because I've had a bunch of stories to share. The building that I'm now filming, there's a lot of police, so I'll try to be more subtle. This is the Parliament building. And I'm sure most of you at least must have seen this building on the news, especially last year, this year as well. Oh, look, beautiful, almost a black cat. Oh wow, it's actually a very beautiful cat. Hello, dear. Perfect timing, dear. Meow. You're such a beautiful kitty. It looks like you're not actually even a stray cat. It looks you belong to someone. Wow, such a beautiful kitty. Okay, dear. Sorry. I got so easily distracted when I see cats. Huh. But let's go back. Let's get back to the tour. So this is the Parliament building. There will be a lot of police around. So when I see police, my camera work might not be perfect because I don't want to film police. And we'll just play it by ear, I would say. Nevertheless, the street I am in, me and cats, yes. The eternal story, me and cats. So the street we are now walking down is named after a linguist, Pavel Ingorokwa. There should be a street sign. Yes, Pavle Ingorokwa. For me, as a linguist, it's important to introduce you to another colleague, so to speak. Your cat is a Halloween toad bag. Okay, you know what went viral? I'm sure you saw it. The lovely ladies wearing lots of spices on them. A lot of Spice Girls. I love this Spice Girl costume. I think one day I'll also wear one. I will also be a Spice Girl. I love that, actually, very, very much. And this street, historically, since it's very close to the main avenue, would have beautiful buildings, and here would live a lot of aristocrats. Shabbat Shalom, Robert. A lot of aristocrats. and also politicians, and also some another kitty, two kitties. Wow, the more the merrier. Is it a mirror reflection kind of? No, actually there are two cats. Wow, why do they look so, I mean, they look so nice. They're clean. They look, I mean, their fur looks better than my hair. Or maybe just stray cats who live near Parliament building are just special cats? Who knows? They're definitely from one and the same litter. Sure, absolutely. Also here once was a black cat, I remember. A black cat lives here, but she's probably busy having dinner somewhere. Halloween dinner or Halloween party. Someone must have invited her. She definitely would be the star of the show. Nevertheless, and here we can find some beautiful examples of architecture. I mean, look at these guys over here. You see what I mean? Don't think I'm just, fooling around and just showing you what I see. I actually have some stories to share, but to tell you those stories and to actually make you feel the drama, I need to build it. I need to build a suspense. So that's what we're doing. And you could see every day some well-off families walking around. You could also hear young gentlemen, nicely dressed, talking about Voltaire or reciting Sappho, the Greek poet, lady poet, or they could be talking about Byron or reciting Shota Rustavelli's poem, the most famous one, The Knight in the Panther's Skin, because this is exactly what kind of people lived in this beautiful street. Well, look at this building. Very soon, all of it will come to an end. All of it. Very soon. Sooner than they think. Obviously, the revolution and the big changes in the air. We're approaching 1917. But 1917 was not the crucial year, was not, I would say, the turning point for Georgia yet. Actually, it was, but in a different way, because for the Russian Empire, 1917 was the end of it. But here would become the amazing time that would last for 3 more years. Georgia would become an independent, democratic republic. I need to walk so that the lights would be on. And look at that. So this would... Okay, I need some more light as well because I need to move. Oh, actually, it looks even lovelier, like with my lamp. So this would still thrive and flourish for 3 more years. While the Red Army and the Soviets slaughtered their own people. Ooh, we have another cat moment. Hello, kitty. Hello. I mean, how Halloweenish is that? Look, an old 19th century staircase that squeaks under your feet. And a cat. Oh. And the beautiful stained glass. You know what I want? Meow meow, exactly. There's something I want to do. I don't know if the cat will like it, but I'm after something. Give me a second. I don't know if she will like the idea, but I think she's okay with it. Moment. Let's wait for the light to switch off and take a screenshot. Yes, please, could you take a screenshot? I mean, it's just an amazing postcard to share, right? Sorry, kitty, I'm done. I'm here to show you this. So this lady must have seen it all. Hi, Ronnie, good to see you. So this house was actually in the, I would say, the center of it all. This is one of the most opulent buildings in the area. A lot of politicians lived here, a lot of poets, and a lot of representatives of the creative class, progressive class, lived here. Meaning, those were the creme of la creme. And those were the people that thought, those were the Georgians that thought that Georgia had entered the free, finally, new time for the country. And they were hoping for prosperity for themselves, for the country, and independence. Little did they know. Okay, let me turn my other light here, because I think it looks a lot more ominous. Ooh. Still a gorgeous lobby. But very soon, the everything changed for the people who lived in this building, who lived in the Ingorokva street, because the Bolsheviks finally invaded Tbilisi in 1921. The Bolshevik army invaded, and that was the end of the Democratic Republic of Georgia. And once Bolshevik come, once they annex and invade, they need to fight with those who don't agree. Look at this building. This building used to be a big, kind of tenant house, residential building, right? That profit house that belonged to a certain private entity, and people just rented just apartments from them. Common practice everywhere, I would say, throughout the Russian Empire and beyond. But then, when the Bolsheviks came, shortly after that, this building became I would say, the center of the evil. So what do you think this building is? Good for me, it's not so dark here, but I'm definitely going to need a much stronger lantern when I go inside for a short while. By the way, hello everyone who are just joining. Welcome to Tbilisi, the Halloween tour. Any guesses what this building became after the Bolsheviks invaded? What I can tell you is that these bricks have seen it all. The building, by the way, the good thing is that right now the building is undergoing a restoration from the inside. I don't know when they get down to the facade, but I guess it's just gonna take longer. But you see what's going on there. It smells like wet plaster. Not a very good idea. The original floor is still there, so these tiles also have seen it all. This corridor has seen it all as well. I'm not going in there, but I'm still going in. I just need to go around, and as I'm going around, I'll share with you the stories. Unfortunately, the doors are new. I'm not sure why they were not happy with the old ones, because we know how many beautiful doors Tbilisi actually has. Nevertheless, I hope I am still here though, because the chat all of a sudden died down. So I hope I am live still. So this building became the headquarters of the VCK, Extraordinary, All Countries Extraordinary Committee. By the way, the same house that we've just been to. Okay, thank you so much. Good. This is the way it looks from the side. Lovely balcony. Still a lot of details of the plaza decoration are here. Lovely eclectic building, and a nice clothing store, by the way, over there. We can actually spy with our little eye. I like the name. It kind of really resonates. I don't know why. I also like the ironwork on the windows and the lamps. That's a clothing store. I'm pretty sure that some of the details are, by the way, have survived. We should definitely explore this place at some point. But today, we're talking about this horror house, I would say. So VCK is Extraordinary committee, a predecessor for the KGB building. Thank you so much, Natalie, for sending me the postcards already. You're very sweet. Let me cross the street because I want to go there. I want to show you something. So the VCK was the predecessor of the KGB. And I don't think I need to tell you what KGB is. Here in this house right now, the connectivity might drop. Please tell me if it does, but I need to. When KGB came in, first and foremost, the most important thing they would do, they would fight those who do not agree, who do not want to live in the Soviet Union, right? And exactly in this building, yeah, happy Halloween, Dolly, hi dear. So exactly in this building, in and out. Okay, so what we're going to do, I'll show you, but won't be talking. I will tell you once I leave the building. It's poltergeist. Well, anyway, it has always happened exactly in this building. The connectivity always drops. I like to think, I guess this is probably the best excuse for now. I like to think that there's just really some poltergeist there. So what I showed you, what you may have noticed, is that the building had some, all of a sudden, sealed windows, a sealed door, and well, definitely like there was a door, from somewhere. Well, and let me show you also the second floor. Hold on a sec. Yeah. So that's what I filmed. This is the second floor, and it felt so creepy. I know that this is now a residential building, and it probably has never really been redecorated or whatever, revamped after the KGB moved out in the 30s. And I went there with my mom, by the way. She's already back home to Siberia. And she sends her love to all of you. She knows that this is going to be a very busy weekend for me. Like this, look at this. These are not really parts of somebody's apartment. That furniture is clearly from the times of the KGB. Clearly. And the floors are still, and the ironwork is still from the times before the Russian Empire collapsed. So why there are some sealed doors? Why we saw a sealed window? That's because it was important for the KGB to... the whole place gives me creeps, honestly. The whole place gives me creeps. And the connectivity there is appalling, honestly, like really, really bad. But that must be because the KGB used this house as also a prison. Actually, it's not really a prison. It's like some detention center. But also here, in this building, let me cross the street. Also in this building, they would be signing death penalties. And also they would be executing death penalties in this very house. So they had to, seal some rooms, turn them into some cells where the people would be kept, And then once their fate is decided and the death penalty, so the conviction is signed, the verdict is there. So the same night, the people in the area, and just imagine the people who lived in this house would hear gunshots, would hear screams, would hear, thank you, they would hear people yelling. And this is unfortunately the true story that we have the proofs of, that we have the memory of. And by the way, every summer, I think it's the 22nd of July, when locals come here to remember the victims of the Soviet repressions. So yes, this is the horrible story. Well, as I said, the KGB moved in the 1930s. They moved out from the building because they built themselves a new one. This one. This is the building. Since this is not an architecture tour, I'd rather not focus on this building, but actually this is a good example of the constructivism on Art Nouveau, especially the corner. But now this building is used by one of the governmental institutions, since we are now actually approaching the Parliament building. So there are several, like a complex of buildings that has it all got to do with Parliament, with the government. So that's why there is so much police all the time. So I don't feel too comfortable walking around in a witch hat, but I guess that's okay. By the way, Halloween is not celebrated in Georgia actually, and the church authorities is extremely important. Georgia is a religious country, Orthodox Christians. Natalie, thank you so much for the tips. And thank you so much. Let me remind you that on the top of the chat there is a pinned comment with the links where you can just send me a PayPal donation, you could buy me coffees, and also there's a link for my website where you can find the schedule for 7 more tours, by the way, 2 more tonight and 5 tomorrow. Nevertheless, so the church is very strong here, and since Halloween is actually a pagan holiday, the Georgian church is not really happy with Georgians, young Georgians sort of walking around dressed like witches and other pagan stuff. But it's not really, it's not illegal. Nobody's gonna slap you for that. So that's just how it is. And speaking of this new political regime, those were many people. Those were thousands of people and dozens of thousands of Georgians that perished in those years. And one would think that Joseph Stalin and Lavrenti Beria, his most loyal associate, and actually Stalin's representative in Georgia, some would think that they would not be so harsh to Georgians because they were both from Georgia. We know that Stalin lived in Tbilisi. Hi Sarah, good to see you. Stalin lived in Tbilisi. Stalin studied in Tbilisi. For most of you, I think you're already familiar with the story that I shared. Actually, I see a lot of parallels with Hitler, kind of. I'm not the first one who compares Stalin and Hitler, right? So, Stalin started at the seminary. Actually, he was going to become a priest. But something went wrong. Hello, everyone. By the way, I'm not sure it's there. Well, I actually have my mantle, but it's not so okay, I got it. You see? I'm actually wearing a kind of a little witch costume, I would say, something like that. But let's move on. Let's get back to the tour. There's a lot of police, but since I'm filming myself, I hope that's okay. There's a lot of police over there. So if they approach me, I don't know what I'm gonna say. I'm sorry. Hello, Gamajaba. We'll see. Yeah. But so the good thing is that there is no protests here. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you. Well, I'm surprised there is no crowd here today. I'm very actually surprised. I'm even worried. Why so? But nevertheless, I am next to the Parliament building per se, the one that you must have seen on the news. There is always a couple of people on strike there, but it's nothing compared to what actually was here. And one of the fellow viewers, Joanne, was here when last year the protest started, and it was very loud. So why am I here? It's because, maybe this building, the history of this building kind of explains why so many protests have happened here, why so many unrests have happened here during the course of Georgian history, but especially in the 20th century. I'm going to ask you a question, and those who know, I'm sure you remember my tours. Here used to be something else on this spot. before the Soviets came in and took, well, and built the Parliament building. Any ideas? It's not so difficult to guess. The locals think that because of that, Parliament building and Tbilisi itself is kind of cursed, which I think could be true, honestly. And in the meantime, I'm gonna be looking for the photos I want to share. I know, but that's okay. So I'm sure most of you have guessed. Dolores, thank you so much for your tips as well. So as many of you knew, and also for those who must have guessed it right, because it wasn't really a rocket science, here used to be a church, a beautiful church that I'm sure reminds us Hagia Sophia, right, in Istanbul, because it was built in the Byzantine style, exactly. This church was a Russian church. It wasn't even a Georgian church. Soon we're going to see actually what Georgian churches look like, which are also Orthodox Christian church, but different. So, but the Soviets destroyed the Russian church. They couldn't care less about it. Why did they remove a beautiful church? Because they were against architecture. No, not because of architecture, because they were against religion, because the Soviet Union was the atheistic state. That was it. So they were all atheists. So they destroyed so many gorgeous churches. A church, who cares? Then they built the Parliament building, and maybe that's why here have happened a dozen of different incidents, a dozen of them. And when you come by the stone, you will always see here some candles. You will always see here some flowers. This time it's beautiful tulips. There is a monument which I have spoken about on some of my tours. So it's the monument to the victims of the 9th of April. So 9th of April 1989. Actually it started on the 8th of April. Well, hundreds of people came by the Parliament building protesting against some actions of the Soviet Union. And by the way, it still hasn't really been solved up until now for almost 30 years. Oh, actually, no, more than 30 years. This hasn't been sorted. And okay, I hope I can walk past. Yeah, should be okay. By the way, you'll see some street vendors selling Georgian flags, and probably there should be also flags of this European Union. Yes, also Ukrainian flags. Well, it pretty much reflects the idea of the protests here, pretty much. And well, that was supposed to be a peaceful demonstration, but it ended up, after the Soviets got involved and the police got involved, it resulted into a massacre in a way. So they brought the tanks. Imagine, it doesn't seem so unimaginable now. It doesn't seem so ridiculous now, knowing what actually is going on in the world. But imagine they brought tanks. And I want to share with you one video. So by the morning they brought tanks. They brought the special forces unit. And as a result of that fight, 21 victims. I know the video is not of the best quality, but this was 1989. So 35 years. Look at that. There was no indication that the protesters were armed. No, but it just got wild. People had had enough of the Soviet regime. Georgia wanted out. Many of the former Soviet republics wanted out. And the Soviet Union was actually, falling apart by that time. So 21 victims. They also used some very highly toxic gas. So 21 people died. Now I need to cross the street, and for this I need to go underground. So to cross from the underground crossing. So with connectivity should drop, but if you lose me, I will be back. I won't be talking now because the sound is most likely to be in and out. So we'll just walk. There's not so much to see. There's some stores and they're closing down already. They're closing because it's approaching, it's coming to 8 p.m. local time. An American flag coming in. Well, for some people it has become kind of a hobby already, kind of a habit to come and protest. Every evening, ever since the last year election. So it's been like this for some of them for over a year now. So we have crossed the street and we see the Parliament building. The entire building now is in the frame. So imagine how beautiful this church must have looked. Nevertheless, so obviously the entire story with 21 victims, the Soviet government tried to sweep under the carpet, but after the Soviet Union collapsed, it became known to public, as well as another demonstration, which was a peaceful one, by the way. It resulted in more than 100 victims. It happened in the 60s, and nobody actually knew about it after, it only became known to everyone outside of Georgia throughout the former Soviet Union after the perestroika, after the collapse of the Union itself. So I promised to show you actually a Georgian church. There you go. I'm sure had the Bolsheviks attempted to destroy this church, there probably would have been even a bigger battle. And who knows how it would have finished, but Georgians would have never let to destroy this church. Never let destroy this church. We're not going inside. I think there is an evening service there held, but we're just standing here. I want to show you the exterior a little bit. So, a few words, especially for those who haven't done many tours with me. Georgia is a Christian Orthodox country. Religion here is very strong. I would say it's quite conservative. And that's the reason why the church doesn't really approve of the celebration of Halloween, but nobody's going to punish you for this. Nobody's... Très belle. Bellissimo. Yes, so these are I believe those are frescoes, and they're beautiful. So this church is named after, actually it's connected with the legend of Saint David Gareja. By the way, have I told you that I'm a notorious overrunner? I must have. So we're definitely going to overrun tonight. There's not so many more stories left, but nevertheless I want to share with you one story. You see there is a big building and there is a kind of a pink tower there. This is a television tower. Yeah, I know there are a lot of troubles now in the States as well. The world has gone crazy. What can I say? My head is just about to leave me. No. No, it's with me. It's okay. So there is a mountain. Many of you have seen me on Tatsminda mountain, my live streams from there. So there is a church. I've never taken you there, by the way, before. There is also a cemetery. Where a lot of yes, of course, it's the same day as the All Saints' Day. Obviously, yes, you're right. But in general, Halloween is a pagan holiday. Nevertheless, Uh, yeah, you're right, of course, Sharon. Um, so that monastery is named after David Gareja. Well, what did I say? Now, this is the fully Halloween tour. Hello. Well, that's it. Look, it's me, my witch hat, the mantle, and the black cat. Cool. Now we have the full package, I believe. It looks quite epic. Look at my mantle. Wow, I look epic. Absolutely. And now, by the way, this looks even more epic because I'm standing next to a burial vault. So this church is called the Kashweti Church, a church of the one of the one who gave birth to a stone. I don't know, it's complicated. So in that monastery used to serve well, he's a saint now, but he was basically a monk, David of Gareja. And for some reason people started to spread bad rumors about him. By the way, just for us to see the burial vault. Yes, that ghost of mine, that was just a ghost. It wasn't even me, it was a ghost and the black cat and everything. And well, actually here is buried a representative of a very rich and powerful dynasty, Baratashvili, by the way. So I think it's a gorgeous burial vault, a gorgeous one. So David Gareja didn't do harm to anyone, but someone, for some reason, decided to spread rumors as if he had assaulted a girl, and the girl got pregnant, and he was obviously exiled from the monastery and Tbilisi and everything. But he said, as he was on his way out, he said that when the girl would give birth to a stone, they will understand he had done nothing. And that's exactly what happened. So this is when actually this church was built. So the whole story goes back to somewhat 6th century common era. And well, this church was built in the 19th century, but here has always been a church. And there are still, well, in the base of this church there are, hello Cheryl, good to see you. So, but this church building still has a lot of bricks from the previous churches that had been standing on the spot, so to speak. Now we are in the very eerie, in a very dark place. We are in the 9th of April Park. You still remember the story of the 21 victims of the 1989, right? So these are the photos. Those were people just of different walks of life, of different ages. The youngest one was an underage girl. She was 16 when she died. And she was killed. This is very sad. So this park behind the Kashweti Church is basically, so to speak, a memorial of the victims of that protest. And locals, like people who live in the neighborhood, they don't really like coming here after dark. They don't feel very safe. Actually, it's very safe. I feel okay walking here. No, also young couples come here to make out for some romantic time together. No dodgy business though. But many people would often say that they had seen here something weird. Some people, some shadows, some white spots moving around. And most likely, well, if we believe in that, if we believe in those stories and those sightings, those could have been the victims of the 9th of April 1989. So here are 21 trees that were planted after the Soviet Union collapsed. So 30 plus years later, these trees are still here. They're so big now. And so yeah, all these murders, all these deaths happened very close. Very close. This is a very sad story. And it is a very true story. Again, as I said, unfortunately, most of my Halloween stories that I have prepared for today are actually true stories. And this is the saddest part, so to speak. Nevertheless, we move on. Well, for example, remember that Tatsminda mountain. There is another story about that mountain and David Gareja. So actually for many years, locals would mention that at a certain point on that mountain, it is sweet. It is about bittersweet, I would say. So people going up and down that mountain, the Tatsminda mountain, they would often notice that their cars, could just all of a sudden just switch off, and their cars could just move, or other way around, they would just stop in the middle of the road for some reason, as if, I don't know, their batteries went dead, or they just ran out of gas. Well, no idea. Or their phones would start acting up, with the connectivity off and on. Many stories. Many people mention that. A lot of taxi drivers mention that. Beautiful view of the park. And now we are moving on. And indeed, there is a zone, that section of the road, where for some reason the road goes downhill. But if you pour, the water on the road, or if you actually, if you're there, for some reason, the water would actually flow uphill. And the cars, if they just stop, they would actually go uphill. Well, I don't know. I have never seen that. It could be just, an optical illusion. So, but okay, an optical illusion for the water flow in the opposite direction. Okay, but why would the phones act up? I don't know. So there are some stories that are somehow, well, I would say kind of paranormal or abnormal. But again, the most impressive stories for me are the ones that actually happen here. And I'm now approaching the dessert. Another true story that actually, I would say, make my hair stand on end when I think of it. Again, because it actually happened. So we are now approaching a beautiful area. Oh, hello! Yeah, I'm not the only one celebrating Halloween. I'm not the only one. That's good. That's good. I don't feel that silly anymore. I've seen a couple of people. Actually, I'm not, I would say, being very creative. I haven't been very creative because I've seen a couple of other witches. So, but I just snitched the costume from my son anyway. So we're approaching a beautiful area, which I think looks nice both during the daytime and after dark. So we've been here before. We have visited a couple of beautiful lobbies as well, together with you. Well, this area, as you can see, looks really nice. I would say it looks slick, and this has always been a popular tourist neighborhood. These two buildings were actually 5-star hotels. This one is a London hotel. One of the first 5-star hotels of the city. And this one, I'm losing my head now, completely. Oh, are you with me? It's still with me, but it really wants to fly. Oh. Okay, maybe if I keep it like this, maybe, just maybe. Ah, wait a sec. Wait a sec. So, yeah, that's me. Nevertheless. Oh, okay. So this was a Grand Hotel, was constructed a little later, but we're talking here second half of the 19th century anyway. And at that time, Tbilisi actually became quite a popular travel destination. Again, because of the oil, because of the oil export. Tie your hat to your broomstick. I parked my broomstick somewhere else. It must have been towed away now to the broomstick parking lot somewhere. I don't know. I have no idea. So Tbilisi in the second half of the 19th century became a travel destination due to the oil, due to a lot of investment by the Nobel family, by the Rothschilds, and in general it became a popular destination also because of the pilgrimage, Christian pilgrimage. For some time there was no opportunity to go to the Holy Land because of the Ottoman policy. So before it became possible from the Ottomans, with the Ottomans, thank you, some pilgrims would go to the Ararat mountain to Armenia, which is now no longer in Armenia as we know. It's already now part of Turkey, but you get the point. And must have been poltergeist. Definitely some ghosts. Okay, how about now? Okay, how about now? Should be better now. Please let me know if I'm back. Okay, good. Good. So, this was a Grand Hotel. And in 1901, a beautiful red-haired lady came in. Repeating what? Sorry, Natalie, I'm not sure what you're referring to. But well, actually, I didn't say much. I said that Tbilisi became part of the, I would say, important, well, big tourist destination for those who had seen it all. I mean, for the mainly among pilgrims, but not only. And one of those people who wanted to see Tbilisi and the Caucasus was a beautiful lady called Dagny Yul Przypszewska. Dagny Yul. She was from Norway. She was a Norwegian poet, writer, and she also happened to be a friend and a muse of Edvard Munch. I'm sure we all remember his painting The Scream, right? Okay, now, okay, I got it. So I can go on. So this is Edvard Munch. We all remember the Scream painting, but I'm sure many of you have seen other paintings with a red-haired girl. There you go, this one, for example. And this is Dagny Yul. Or this one, give me a second, this one. And as most art historians claim, the man covering his head is actually Edvard Munch himself. Yeah, please go ahead. Please go ahead, thank you. That's okay, thank you so much. No, she was Norwegian, but she had a Polish husband, Stanisław Przypszewski. That's him and her husband. Oh, my witch hat is finally off my head. I'm moving now away from the wind, but I need a minute to do that. So, I will repeat again. Dagny Yul was a Norwegian writer and poet, and she was a friend and a muse of Edvard Munch, the artist, the world-known artist. And she was not his mistress. Some claimed that they had been. I still have my hat, but it's here. I got it. Actually, here the wind is way stronger. Give me a second. I need an extra I need extra 3 hands, I would say, not even one. Okay, hold on a sec. There is a table here because I need to put my hat in a bag. Okay, here we are. So Dagny Yule with her husband, a Polish writer, Stanisław Przybyszewski, they decided together with, well, the two of them and two of their kids, they decided to travel to the Caucasus. And they came to Tbilisi and they wanted to go see Tbilisi. But the day, well, actually the same morning before coming to train, well, Misha and Grisha are busy doing something else, so unfortunately I'm by myself. Yeah, exactly, Robert. And I hope you can hear me okay now. I'm covering my microphone from the wind, so it should be fine. Sorry for that. Sorry it's taking me much longer to actually get around to the story, but you see there are some factors that keep distracting me from it. So Stanisław Przybyszewski just said, "Dear, I'm sorry, I can't come with you, but my friend Emmerich, Vladislav Emmerich, my friend and our good family friend, will go instead of me, and I will catch up with you somewhere in the Caucasus." That must be a new saying, Sharon. Something brand new, I would say. And well, what could she do? She said, "Okay, dear, I will see you in Tbilisi." So they came to Tbilisi eventually. They checked into the Grand Hotel. Most likely those were their rooms. So two kids, Dagny and Emmerich. And the next day, the people of the hotel heard gunshots. Two of them. One and the next one 5 minutes later. When the personnel of the hotel came in, they saw two kids that were safe and unharmed, and they saw Dagny and Vladislav Emmerich dead. I'm going to show you a cutout from the newspaper that was released the next day. And yes, there are two dead bodies in the coffins, but there is no blood. There's nothing like, horrible, but just letting you know in case you don't want to see the dead people. So here is the newspaper. It's the literature newspaper from Poland, I believe, but it was quite a big scandal because Dagny Yule was connected with Edward Munch. And so they were found dead. I'm going to show you also the photos from the newspaper, the ones that were published. Vladislav Emmerich and Dagny Przybyszewska, or Dagny Yule, in the coffins. Up until now, we don't know what exactly happened. What we know is that he first killed her and then he killed himself. And shortly before that, he had a phone call with Poland. Most probably with Stanisław Przybyszewski, her husband. He had been under investigation and we don't know what happened. Had he asked Vladislav to kill her? Why Vladislav killed her? Was it his own idea? Was it Stanislav's idea? We don't know, and probably we never will. Edward Munch was completely devastated. He was even going to come to Tbilisi, but he couldn't. And what an interesting linguistic discussion there. I love it. Thank you so much. I'm really battling with the wind here. I can barely see anything because my hair is loose, but it's okay. And this was it. So Stanisław Przybyszewski wasn't charged with anything. Edward Munch was depressed for a long time because Dagny Yule indeed was his friend. Some people think that they had been sexually involved, but there is no indication of that, especially that we know. Now we know that Edward Munch actually had a lot of issues with women. The children were okay. They didn't see anything. They were in the other room, and they were not even. Oh well, I would say were not really big enough and adult enough to give any, I would say, credible account of the events. So this is it. It still remains the mystery. Still remains the mystery. Dagny is buried in Tbilisi, by the way. For a long time, her grave was considered lost. It was rediscovered about, hold on a second, about 10 years ago. I went to a Polish Catholic cemetery to find the grave. There it is. This is her grave. And there's also a beautiful cenotaph to Dagny. So cenotaph is the monument on the empty grave, right? So there you go. This is the beautiful cenotaph. This is not my photo. I just found it online. So this is another, I would say, horrifying story of a young, beautiful woman finishing her life in a 5-star hotel with the kids in the room next door. This is very sad. Let's see again the windows, the rooms where this murder had happened. Well, double murder. So we believe that this was the 3rd floor and these corner rooms. Yeah, some mysteries remain mysteries and they're just not meant to be. Okay, maybe that's better. Only buffering. I don't know. Okay, I will move from this. I guess it's just due to the wind. Normally the most challenging thing is another Halloween character. I'm not sure who she is. Some creature on a scooter. Okay, so no buffering here. That's fantastic. So this is basically it. I could have shared with you many more stories, but I guess I would save them for some other tour. But we're not done with the Halloween tours because tonight I'm taking you, well, I guess it's been only buffering for Dolores. I'm so sorry for that, dear, but I'm changing the location anyway. So my hat is in the bag, but it's not on me because it's literally impossible to keep it on. So I'm not done with the Halloween tours though. Tonight I'm taking you to the cemetery, to 2 cemeteries of St. Petersburg, to an Old Believers cemetery and to a Lutheran cemetery. 1 tour, 2 cemeteries, 1 tour. Interesting package, right? And then I'm taking you to Peterhof for the agate rooms, not Peterhof, Catherine Palace. What am I saying? Yeah, must have been black magic. Then tomorrow I'm doing 5 tours. It was supposed to be 4. I was supposed to be doing 7 tours this weekend, but something happened, and I'm doing 8 anyway, and I'm doing 5 tomorrow. You see, this is all just, I like Scarlett O'Hara, probably on her bad hair day. Nevertheless, so, yeah, what I was going to say, tomorrow I'm taking you to the Tbilisi Botanical Garden, a little earlier than usual. That's because they have announced there's going to be a chrysanthemum festival. And I cannot miss an event like that. We love Botanical Garden. I love Botanical Garden. And I haven't been there for a while, actually. I haven't been there since summer, since early summer. I have no idea how I'm going to manage that. I'm probably going to be absolutely brain dead by Jerusalem. By my Jerusalem tour, but what can I do? So then, but Tbilisi Botanical Garden, beautiful autumn colors and chrysanthemums. Then I'm taking you on another Halloween tour. We're going to explore the Jewish cemetery of St. Petersburg. We've never been there. Then, carry on with your linguistic thing. This is okay. I'm gonna scroll back, later on and see what's going on. I need to know this expression. I need to study this expression because I have never heard it. Then I'm gonna carry on with my story on Vladimir Zworykin, the one of the founding fathers of the American television, and not only American one, by the way. Then Misha is gonna give a talk about Russian folklore, and then I'm taking you to Jerusalem. And this is going to be the last tour of the Holy Sepulchre Church, and also the alternative site, so-called a Protestant site, called Garden Tomb. According to Protestant tradition, not the Holy Sepulchre Church, but the Garden Tomb is the where Jesus was buried or entombed. And then after that, next weekend, we are finally going to the Temple Mount, by the way. So on my website, and you have the link on the pinned comment, we are going to, well, you can see a bunch of tours already scheduled for this weekend, for the upcoming weekend. I think a couple of Temple Mount tours are already up, because it's definitely going to be a short series, not just one tour. That's definitely. And yeah, that's basically it. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining me. I swear I'm still a witch. I think so. There has to be, yeah. There you go. My beautiful mantle, you see? I'm still a witch. I'm still a witch. Just headless one. That's it. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me. It's been fun. A little windy, but that's okay, I guess. I just came with a package. I mean, the weather is getting worse. Luckily, I mean, it's not raining. This would have been the worst part, honestly, but this is okay. So thank you so much for your support. So the two links I remind you on the top of the chat. PayPal, you could buy me coffees, and I will see you on 2 other tours tonight. So the cemetery in St. Petersburg and the agate rooms in Catherine's Palace. Thank you so much for joining me. So this has been the Halloween tour, partly the old stories, partly the new stories, and just beautiful Tbilisi in between. Oh. I'm so sorry. Yeah, tomorrow is going to be a not very convenient time for the botanical garden, but there's not much I can do because they close at 6, and I don't want to come there by the closing hour because I don't think it's going to be there much, because it's going to be the second day of the festival. So I want to be able to show you as much as possible. Plus, you will be able to see the recording anyway, because it's going to be available immediately. My witchiness. Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm going to use it as a scarf now. Oh, I think it looks actually very nice. Don't you think? Mm-hmm. Thank you, everyone. See you soon. Bye-bye. Exactly. Too many witches around. And sorry for the tech issues. Just black magic. Thank you, Cindy. Bye-bye, everyone.